Stories from around the world. The Singing Toad. A story from Mexico. Every morning an old farmer and his 3 sons would walk out in the hot sun to see how the corn was growing in their fields. "Soon be ready for harvesting," the farmer would growl. One morning when they looked at the corn, they saw that someone or something had torn up the plants in one corner of a field and eaten all of the ripe corn. "Who's been here in the night?" the farmer shouted. The 3 sons searched around, but they couldn't find any footprints or any signs of a thief. "Tonight you must watch the field and we must catch the thief," the old farmer said to his eldest son. That evening the eldest son picked up his gun and a corn cake and he set off for the field. Along the way he came across a well, and sitting by the well was a toad who was singing. The eldest son said to the frog, "Be quiet. You've a terrible voice and that's a horrible song. Be quiet now or you'll frighten away the thief that I've come to catch." "Please, give me a piece of your corn cake," croaked the toad. "No, I want it. It's all mine," replied the oldest son. The toad opened its mouth and sang an even louder and longer song. "If you won't be quiet, I'll make you," shouted the eldest son. And he picked up the toad and dropped it into the well, and then he walked away and sat down at the edge of the cornfield. All night he sat by the field, but heard and saw nothing. In the early morning, as the sun rose, he was shocked to see that more corn had been torn up and eaten. He had to go back to his father and give him the bad news. "You must go this evening and watch the field," the father then said to the second son. Just as the sun was setting, the second son took his gun and a corn cake and he walked to the field. When he reached the well, there was a toad singing a loud, loud song. "Oh, what a terrible noise! Please be quiet," said the second son. The toad stopped singing. "Give me a piece of your corn cake, please," it croaked. "No, it's mine. It's all mine. I want it," said the second son. The toad started to sing again, even louder. "That's enough," shouted the second son, picking up the toad by one leg, and he flung it down into the well. And then he walked away and he sat down by the cornfield. All night the second son sat by the field of corn, but he heard and saw nothing. Then, in the morning, as the sun rose, he saw that more corn had been torn up and eaten, and he had to return to his father and tell him that he too had failed to catch the thief. The third evening, the farmer sent his youngest son to guard the corn. The son walked slowly to the field, afraid that if his 2 brothers couldn't catch the thief, then he too would fail. He stopped when he heard the toad singing by the well. "What a fine voice you have! And that is a fantastic song." "Glad you like it," croaked the toad. And the toad sang even louder and longer. "Will you give me a piece of your corn cake?" the toad croaked. "Certainly, help yourself," said the youngest son, and he put the whole cake down in front of the toad. When the toad had gobbled up the last crumbs, it said, "Since you've been so kind, I'll tell you a secret. At the bottom of this well, there's a magic emerald, and it can grant 3 wishes." "Thank you," said the third son. He thought for a while. "Can I have anything I like?" he asked. "Anything or anyone," croaked the toad. "Then I would like a wife," said the son. "Well, you'd better decide what sort of wife you like before you wish, and you'd better have a house for her to live in," croaked the toad. "Now lean over the well, say what you wish, and don't mumble." The son looked down the well at the cool water. "I wish for a wife who's kind and beautiful, and I wish to have a fine house near the well, and I wish that I could catch the corn thief." He said all this loudly and clearly. "Now we must go to the field," croaked the toad. The son picked up the toad, put it on his shoulder, and with the toad singing loudly, he walked towards the cornfield. The sun was just setting over the distant mountains when a huge white bird appeared in the sky. It flew down to the field and started tearing at the corn. The toad hopped over it and started to sing a soft, sweet lullaby. Hearing the song, the bird stopped eating, closed its eyes, and was soon fast asleep. "Come here," the toad croaked to the sun. "This bird is really a beautiful young girl. A nasty witch turned her into a bird because she wouldn't marry the witch's horrible son. Now you can go with her to your father." The son picked up the bird and the toad and carried them to the farmhouse. "This bird is the corn robber," he said to his father. His brothers wanted to kill the bird, but the youngest son said, "No, it's mine, and I'm going to keep it." The next morning, the youngest son carried the bird and the toad back to the well. There, by the well, was a splendid house. At that moment, the bird vanished, and the door of the house opened, and a beautiful girl came running out from the house. The son knew that this was his wife, and fell in love with her immediately. They were soon married and lived very happily in their new house by the well. The old farmer came to live with them, and the two other sons went off to the city, never to be seen again. The toad lived by the well, and he was told by the youngest son, "My father likes to hear your singing. You may sing whenever you like." "Thank you," said the toad, "but I was going to sing anyway."